Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you certainly know that this is my series in which I use tarot and oracle cards to explore topics related to living the intentional life. And if you have been following along, you probably already know that this is part 2 of a 2-part reading of this week's spread. I've decided from now on, when I use this spread, the Tree of Life spread, I'm going to divide the reading into 2 parts because it's a very intense and very deep and very information-packed spread. So, this is the beginning of part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, I highly recommend going and checking that out. So I will put a link up here so that you can hop over and see part 1 if you haven't done so yet, or if you haven't already seen it. If you have seen part 1 and you're ready to see part 2, just keep on trucking with me. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the third triangle, which we did not see in part 1. The astral triangle, yeah? And we'll read that, and then we're going to read the whole spread once more in 3 different ways, maybe 2 different ways, yeah? We're going to read the mother pillar going down, we're going to read the father pillar going up, and then we're going to read the whole spread in the lightning path. Now, if you've seen me read this spread before, you know what I mean. If you haven't seen me read this spread before, stick around. You'll understand what's going on as I read it. Okay? So, here we go. Here is the astral triangle. You just saw the astral triangle. Starting with spot number 7 for Netzach, we had the 8 of Swords. And then spot number 8, we had in Hod the Page of Swords. And then spot number 9, Yesod, we had the Knight of Discs. And then at the very bottom, we had an oracle card in Malkut. That was Sagittarius, right? So, where are we going to start? We're going to start on the father pillar with Netzach and number 7, which was the 8 of Swords. And here we have the beautiful 8 of Swords from this deck. Here it is. Now, just in case, if you are interested in any of these decks and you want to know who the names of the decks and the names of the creators, there's going to be a short video at the end of this video which gives you that information. And then also in the description box below, there will be links so you can go and check out the decks and perhaps purchase one or all of them if you want. They're really wonderful decks. I'm just saying. So here we go. There we are, the 8 of Swords in Netzach. Now, what is Netzach? Let's start with that. Netzach. Netzach is described as perpetuity, victory, endurance. It's triumph over obstacles. Now, the pairing of Netzach and Hod, it's all about obstacle. Yeah? Netzach is triumph over obstacles. It's where we can begin to feel, comprehend, and experience what is going on. Yeah? Above Netzach and Hod, we can't really get a grasp on things. In the ethical triangle, we get a sense, we can conceptualize it. The supernal triangle, we can't even conceive of that fully. Yeah? In the ethical triangle, we can start to conceive of things. They're more ideas. They're pre-ideas. They're less tangible. Here, we can actually start feeling stuff, right? So we begin to feel, we comprehend, we can experience things here at the beginning with Netzach. Strength, we have the strength to complete and the patience to follow through on our passions here with Netzach. This is the tactical Sephiroth. Instead of an astral this is the tactical Sephiroth. Yeah? It means this is the means to an end. Because this is the triangle focused on the human. Leadership, to rally others, to motivate them, to cause an action to happen. Yeah, all of that is here in Netzach. Not in this card, but in the Sephirah. There are also extreme polarities here in Netzach. Yeah, all possibilities are contained in Netzach, but they are polarities. So how we might experience, feel, or perceive something is contained in this. It's the balance between the individual and the collective. And it gives rise to intuition, to feelings here. Now, because this is the first stage of feeling things, of experiencing things. And so in that spot, we had the Eight of Swords. And here you can see the Eight of Swords, beautifully rendered. And the Eight of Swords points to the Capricorn decadent of Virgo. Now, the Capricorn decadent of Virgo, which is the second decadent, and its subruler Saturn, from which the cardinal aspect of mutable Earth's vital attributes enter our world. Now, the cardinal aspect of mutable, I don't know if my gestures are meaningful to you. Cardinal is pointing towards, moving forward. Let's get going. Yeah, heart, 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 heart. Mutable is, okay, let's get ready for the next step. Let's clean up what we have and get ready for our transformation. Get ready for the next thing, where we'll start again going forward, right? So here we have the, what did I say? We had the cardinal aspect of mutable fire, of mutable earth here. And the planet was Saturn. And if you watched video 1, you'll know that Saturn is an important planet to keep an eye on in this spread. Also, because it's the second decadent and it's upright, we have a complement of Mercury in Venus. Not Venus, I'm sorry, Mercury in Virgo. Things that I slip up on. Virgo, Venus. Apparently Sagittarius and Aquarius are things that my tongue slips up on. My brain slips up on. So here we have the complement of Mercury in Venus. No, Virgo. Scheisse. The complement of Mercury in Virgo. Which, again, I said, points to the Capricorn. Okay, I'm being confusing. So, let's move right on. In Netzach, perpetuity, victory, yeah, endurance, dichotomies, binaries of all possibilities, but we have the inklings of intuition. We're able to gather people together to create action. And here in this card in that spot is interesting. This is life's limitations bring strength. Strength from the boundaries that are present in our lives. Because without any boundaries, we need form. And those boundaries, those limitations give us some kind of form, a structure. And within that structure, we can feel and express our strength. It could also be a struggle to maintain our balance as well in this card. Lessons to be learned are here. Deficiencies detract from our progress. You have some things that we are lacking and could stand in our progress, in our movement forward. Added responsibilities to us could cause worry in this card, the Eight of Swords, which kind of echoes the Eight of Swords from the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Smith-Waite deck of the woman bound up or surrounded by swords, right? Frustrations, worries, responsibilities. Loss of honor, perhaps. Business failures. Those are all potentials for this card. Also the potential for disrupted routines of living. Overindulgence from work. Yeah, we work too hard, and so to compensate, we overindulge in things, maybe. However, there is another aspect of positive thinking in the face of adversity, which I think is perhaps the more relevant of these meanings. Now, perhaps we want to recognize that limitations give us strength, that lessons can be learned and to help move us forward in this card. And also our positive thinking in the face of adversity will help us to move in the direction that we want to go in, that will help us to open to the powerful flow of our intention, which makes sense in this victory over obstacles space of Netzach, right? The way for us in this spread to overcome our obstacles are positive thinking, yeah? Recognizing that the limitations that we are feeling are not cutting us off, but can be empowering, can help us bring our strength together to a focused beam, a focus, yeah? And so we're able to move from here into Hod. And for Hod, we have the Page of Swords. Beautiful page. See this figure kneeling in front of a tablet? A lot of times we think of the Page of Pentacles, the Page of Discs, the Page of Earth as the student, right? The one who investigates things. I don't know if you recognized it yet, or you remember from other videos, but the swords in this deck, this one and this one, these swords are not air signs, but earth signs. Remember, we had Capricorn and Virgo here. And here we have Capricorn again. So, an earth sign. But first, let's talk about Hod for a little bit, because Hod is called majesty, it's called splendor, glory, which is all wonderful things. But it's also submission. Yeah? Netzach is victory and endurance, and Hod is its partner of also submission. And the glory of submission. How could that be possible? Well, along with Netzach, in Jewish prayer, there is the idea of, rather than praying to overcome obstacles, praying for the strength to submit to the obstacles and so move through them. Instead of coming to an obstacle and just beating at it, pounding at it, submitting to what is, opening to what is, allowing what is, and finding the path through, around, over, or under, right? Submitting to the obstacle. Not being overwhelmed by it, not allowing it to crush us, but submitting ourselves to the truth of what is, so that we can feel our way through, forward, around, up, over, or under, like water. When water meets a rock, a hard thing, for example, yeah, there's a little bit of pounding against it, yes, and so rock slowly, very slowly, is etched away. However, water doesn't just stop there, right? Water submits to the rockness of it and the hardness of it and finds another path around. Yeah, that's what Hod is. That's what Hod is. The submission to the rock and allowing a different path to reveal itself. It's also the feet, which is interesting. Yeah, another way to think of Hod is along with Netzach. This is the feet to carry us to the place of our intention. Now, Netzach is our gathering people to move forward. Hod is the feet that move us forward. If that makes sense. It is the community. In Netzach, we find ourselves as leaders of our community. Hod is the community. And action to follow through on the ideas and make them happen. Whereas Netzach is the ideas that we want to put into place, we prepare, we have the power. Hod is the movement, is the putting of things together into place. And this is also the formation of the ego. It's also our philosophies, our sciences, our literature, our systems of thought, our reason are here. If Netzach is the force, Hod is the form. If Netzach is leading the community, Hod is the community that is led. So they work in tandem, and they work together to move things into manifestation. Right? So, What do we have working in our favor to move us in the direction of manifestation? We have the Page of Swords, which is Capricorn, right? And Capricorn, which is the domicile of which planet? Saturn, right? From which these cardinal earth vital attributes enter our world. Saturn again. Now, limitations, boundaries, rules, form, right? So this page, who is this page? Who is the Capricorn? The Capricorn is the one who is ambitious for success, wealth, and station. This Capricorn is a good organizer, manages responsibilities well. Right? So we've gone from this idea of our limitations giving us strength, positive thinking in the face of adversity, and here we have the organizer that manages our responsibilities, that is patient, persistent, yet adaptable, can move around and through and over obstacles. This one can make good impressions, is diplomatic, and that will help this person help us do the act of submitting to the obstacle and moving around through, over, and under it. And this figure is formed by traditions. We learn from our past, we learn from our community. And we have conservative tendencies, and it's that conservation of the things that are viable. We conserve our forests, we conserve wildlife. That kind of conservation, conservative tendencies are beneficial for us. And they help us maintain the good that we have in our lives. So we do that, yeah? We're patient, we're persistent. We carry forward with our traditions. We are ambitious for success, but we don't leave everything behind. We organize what we have and we move forward. That's how we do that. That's how we submit to whatever obstacle might be in our way. And so, with the combination of these two, we move into Yesod. And Yesod is our foundation. This is our pre-manifestational foundation. This is where we take the leap into physical. This is our platform, right? Yesod is the vehicle following the movement from one thing or condition to another. Yeah, the movement from Netzach to Chod gives us the foundation for us to launch into physical, if that makes sense. It's the foundation for manifestation, the transmitter between the rest of the three above triangles to the reality below in Malkut. It's the link between mind and matter as well. Now, Tiferet was the link between power, force, and force and manifestation and form, force and form. Here we have mind and matter. Different, right? So here is where our emanations connect and engage with the physical reality. The ethereal realm, the vibration that gives movement to matter, is here as well. Now, Binah was the engine that transformed energy into power. This is what transforms the power, the vibration, into movement through matter as well. So what is that for us? That for us is the Knight of Discs. A perfect card, because discs in this suit are air. Don't get freaked out. The discs are air, the swords are earth. So, the Knight of Discs is Aquarius again. We've got Aquarius back. And the planet Saturn again. So, the Knight of Discs points to Aquarius, which is the domicile of Saturn, from which these fixed air's vital attributes enter our world. Fixed air. Yeah? We had fixed fire. Well, okay, no, let's not go there. Okay, so anyways, Knight of Discs. What is an Aquarian person? Well, the Aquarian has thoughts about health or money, which is a good thing to have if we're moving into physical, right? Thoughts to increase prosperity, progressive, yeah? The page is conservative, but we merged our Eight of Swords and our Page of Swords with conservativeness, and we've come up with a progressive being. Progressive, more advanced ideas than our companions. And so sometimes we can feel like we're a little bit alone when we're in this place, when we're in the night of air. Impersonal but pleasant, friendly, and cheerful. That kind of a person is what's going to help us move our ideas into reality, our vibrations into manifestation. Interest in education, new discoveries, and the latest science. Yeah, we want to keep ahead of the game, keep on top of the new stuff. This figure learns better by hearing than reading. A little bit like me, which is weird because I don't have anything in Aquarius in my chart. But still, I think I learn better by hearing than by reading. I don't know about you. That's an Aquarian trait. Likes very old and the very new. The Aquarian is advanced, right? Progressive. But we also like the old stuff. I'm not Aquarian, but Aquarians also like the old stuff too, which could be bringing forward our page of Earth here, right? That conservativeness. We still have a taste for those old things as well. We're not leaving it all behind, throwing out the baby with the bathwater, for example. We can blend both art and science as an Aquarian. We enjoy playing the devil's advocate, sometimes. And we can sometimes focus a little bit too much on ideas and theories and neglect acting. That's something we want to be careful of here in Yesod, because we're here in Yesod to be moving into action, right? So there is that one potential Achilles heel for an Aquarian in Yesod here, is that we focus so much on theory that we don't move into action. And so we don't want to do that. We don't want to avoid that. We want to move forward into action. We want to open ourselves to movement with the powerful flow of intention. And so here we are. This is our foundation. Our foundation is being the Aquarian, is being the one who's advanced and progressive, carrying forward our page of Earth with Hod, but moving forward as the progressive one, into manifestation, thoughtful, curious, keeping up to date, right? Because remember, where have we started from? We started from that itch to do stuff. And we were asked to prepare to do stuff. And so to be able to do that, we want to keep abreast of what is out there, right? And that's an Aquarian thing to do. That makes sense, doesn't it? And so where do we move from here? We move into manifestation. We move into Malkut, which is the form of stuff, the formness of stuff. And what do we get in Malkut? We get Sagittarius. Sagittarius, which is the domicile of Jupiter, from which these mutable fire attributes enter our world, enter our charts, enter our reality here in the manifestationness of stuff. And what do we have as advice for our manifestation? Here in Sagittarius, our interests and hobbies are important. No stimulation makes us clingy or irritable and hinders our progress. Maybe the suggestion here from the guidebook for this deck, interesting deck, is to maybe make a list of things we've wanted to learn or to participate in, but we haven't done because perhaps we thought that we wouldn't be able to do it, that it was beyond our capabilities, or we weren't ready for it yet. This is the time to make a list of those things that we thought, I'm just not ready to start this. And then narrow that list down to perhaps 3. And then do those. Yeah, remember, this guy sometimes thinks about things but doesn't start doing. Here we got the do it. Just do it. Be like Nike, do it. At the same time, we want to be sure not to spread ourselves too thin. Now we pick 3 things and start them, which would be great. What? Start learning a new system of tarot. Start playing a new sport. learn to draw, learn to paint. Yeah, pick up a book that you haven't, that's about something that you haven't studied or learned before, but you were curious about, and start studying it. Yeah, go out and go dancing, go learn a new kind of dance. All of those things are possible. But we don't want to spread ourselves too thin. Yeah, because if we do that, if we take on too many commitments, we're going to collapse. So, here we have Sagittarius. This is our great optimism, exuberance, our desire to participate in the world. And it's that desire to participate in the world that is the manifestation of that itch that we could just barely perceive in Keter. Optimism, exploration, knowledge, commitment, religion is possible here, but the search, spirituality, the search for it all. That's living an intentional life. And that's living an evolving, an evolutionary intentional life. But to live that evolutionary intentional life, I think this card, the manifestation, is telling us that we need to feed the fire of our evolution. How do we feed the fire of our evolution? We feed the fire of our progress, of our evolution, by learning more things, by developing our hobbies and our interests and what we know and what we're curious about. Yeah, being the eternal student adds kindling to the fire of our evolution. So our evolution, according to this spread, is not a passive thing. It's not something we just wait for it to happen to us. We want to feed the fire so that it can grow, that our evolution can manifest. It's an alchemical process, right? So we want to put in the ingredients for the alchemical process to happen. So the evolution is the alchemical process, but if we don't feed it, we won't have anything to work with, right? And I think that's what this major spread is trying to say. And we're going to check that in two different ways. Yeah, in just a moment, I'm going to show you the full spread again, and we're going to look at the mother pillar going down, the father pillar going up, and then we'll read the lightning path starting at Kether right down to Malkuth. So here we go. Let's look at the full spread once more. So that was the full spread, right? And like I said, we're going to start with the mother pillar, which starts with Binah, goes to Geberah and Hod. So we'll read that pillar, and then we'll look to the father pillar, which starts from the bottom at Netzach, moves up to Chesed, and goes up to Chokmah. So the mother pillar is the energy moving down. It's the pillar of severity. It's the pillar of the divine looking down and moving down into the earth. It's also a little bit like the wet way of the zodiac. There's the wet way going from Aries down into Cancer. I'm sorry, not from Aries. Going from Aquarius down into Cancer, and then from Leo, the dry way, the dry path, moving from Leo up into Capricorn, right? So here we have the mother pillar. And again, we're starting with, this is the pillar of severity, looking down in judgment perhaps, but in clarity and in appreciation, not in the sense of thank you, but in the sense of looking at what is and what is there and calculating what is, right? So looking down, we start with the moon, right? The moon. We started with the moon in Binah, at the top of the mother pillar, which was telling us to look within. Now we start with looking within to see what is there, to balance out our instincts and our intuition, to train our animal nature, and also to recognize that with inner balance we can maintain our stability, and that energy bouncing around in Binah, that creating diversity and spectrum and increasing energy, can also be a way for us to appreciate, like I said, appreciate our inner spiritual lives of diversity and more power than perhaps we could expect or that we recognize. Also, that this is the moon with Saturn, that spirit is here in matter. We start with that recognition that spirit is here, is manifest here in our material form. And this moves right down into Gebra, which is our severity, our strength, right? And that was the Ace of Wands. And the Ace of Wands, we move from that looking within and recognizing the diversity within and the spirit inhabiting matter. We move into this card with opportunity, initiative taking the initiative to move forward, taking the initiative to do. To asserting our will, right? To gain information, to also to do our work in the world, to do our business, and to be intellectually active. Yeah. So we've looked within, and now we use what we know, and we're active in the world. We start doing our business. We take initiative in the world. And that brings us right down to the Page of Swords. After we've taken initiative, we move into good organization, patience, persistence, being diplomatic, making good impressions on others, because everything here is a co-creative event. Your body is a co-creative event. Everything that we experience is a co-creative event. So we want to be in good relations with the people around us to co-create well, right? We also want to allow for our ambitions. Now, our ambitions help feed our what do we call that? Our intentions. Our ambitions feed our intentions, right? So we can allow that. And we can do the studying. We can do the learning that we want, to discover what is around us. Now, like this young person sitting in front of a tablet or a scroll, writing, we can do the study work as well. Learning from our traditions. Allowing for some of our conservative tendencies as we form into the manifest world. Because that's the direction we're moving from our ephemeral, ethereal natures through into this physicality of being on the mother pillar. And so the response, now that we're here in the physical, we raise our sights up to the divine and we call in mercy. Now we raise and spread our arms to receive the mercy of the divine. And so we're looking up the pillar, the father pillar, right? We're looking up the father pillar to receive mercy. Now the mercy might be coming down, but we are moving up. So that is the movement. That's the direction that we're going to follow. And so we move up. I got my cards all discombobulated. We move up starting with the Eight of Swords, which is right here. So we start at the bottom in the Eight of Swords with, so here we're in our bodies, right? We're in our Page of Swords, or Page of Earth in this Page of Earth in this deck. And so we're starting to, being physical beings, we start feeling our limitations, right? This card. We start feeling maybe a struggle to maintain our balance. But we recognize that our limitations allow us to gather our power together and become strength. And that our positive thinking will help us to face the adversities that we might experience, right? So we're looking up here from that stance, from that Eight of Swords stance here in this deck, which is, of course, an eight of earth in this deck. But still, there's that ring of the Eight of Swords from other especially the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Smith-Waite deck. Yeah, there are some of those worries, that feeling of entrapment is here in this card from this deck. So that's where we're starting. That's where the position from which we're spreading our arms out and opening our hearts to receive the mercy of the divine. And so we move up from there. We begin to rise, to resurrect, to ascend, right? And where do we ascend to? The next station of our ascension is in Chesed, right here with the Four of Cups, an emotional state, right? We move from the earth, of the 8 of earth, to the 4 of Cups. We're a little bit lighter, and we're a little bit more watery, more emotional. And this is the place where we can then start to experience the great joys that are in store for us. The pleasure in interacting with other people is now available to us again as we open our arms for mercy. Our affections can be realized here. And we may put too much focus on our emotions, but if we don't go overboard, now we can take pleasure in who we are, where we are, and who we are interacting with here. As we've opened ourselves up to the mercy of the divine. As we do that, our connection to others is so much more fluid, so much more open, so much more flowing, like water in a cup, like 4 cups, right here. And then, where do we move? We move up into Geburah. I'm sorry, not Geburah, Chokmah. We move right up into Chokmah. And what was in Chokmah? In Chokmah, we had death. We're opening ourselves up from the worries and confinement in Netzach to feeling this joy and connectedness in Chesed and entering into death in Chokmah. Why are we entering into death? Well, remember, this death is our transformation. So we're called through our openness and our feeling of joy to transform as we reconnect with the divine. To transform in the alchemical furnace and dissolve away what is accreted on us. Even though we've opened up, there are still accretions that can dissolve away. We can prune ourselves and place those prunings in the alchemical fire of transformation so that we can rise and begin anew. And then feel those proddings to start the new thing, right? We move back over to the mother pillar, where we start moving in that direction again. We move from this womb, the watery womb, which is at the top of the father pillar, into the mother pillar, which is a womb. And we have the looking into-ness of ourselves and preparations for moving forward. The spirit a realization of spirit being indivisible from matter. That's the cycle of our evolution, I believe. And I think that's what this is pointing to. And that evolution begins with that prod in Keter. And so that's where we're going to begin. And am I going to try and do that? Let me see if I can do that without taking too much time. Let me see if I can get these guys back into some kind of an order. Let's see, here we go. Do I want to stop the video? Or no, I don't. Okay, so here we go. Where do we begin? We begin with the Ace of Wands, reversed, right? So, Keter, we start here. Ace of Wands reversed. This is, again, Mars and Scorpio. We get that feeling, that first pre-feeling nudges, those itches that we can't really place anywhere, right? This is where we want to clear space. We want to prepare ourselves for the movement forward. So that is where we begin. We begin with that preparations for the movement forward, clearing space, focusing our will on what it is that we want to do. right? We move from that into allowing ourselves to transform, allowing ourselves to get rid of what has accreted around us, to be prepared to become the new us that our evolution is calling us to be. Right? And then we move, whoa, okay, they're just going to go on the floor. And then we move into the moon here in Binah, which is telling us, okay, so we're prepared. Now look within. Notice the diversity. Notice the light refracting within. The light bouncing off the mirrors, becoming so many different colors and being energized and vitalized. And recognizing that that energy is here in material form with us now. We don't have to wait for it to happen. It's here now. We are this. Yeah? And we take a look at our fears, we take a look at our animal instincts, and we mitigate those. We satiate them. We soften them. We allow them. We soothe them. Here, and now we're going to hop on over to Dot, which we didn't talk about yet. Dot, which was the 9th house here in Dot. Dot, Saturn again. This is not Saturn, Jupiter again. Jupiter is here in Sagittarius again. Yeah? So we had Jupiter in Sagittarius here and here. In Dot, in the void, the imperceptible, the space between the imperceptible and the beginning to be perceived, Dot, the empty space. This is what's filling that empty space. And what is this telling us about Dot? Well, it's time to look outside. It's time to look outside of our comfort zone and explore new subjects. Remember, that's where we're going to end up here. Explore new subjects. What are we afraid of learning or studying because we thought it's not appropriate for us right now, or we're not up to it right now, or we might fail? It's time to learn the things that we want to know. That's what we gather from the void between the supernal triangle and the lower triangles. The desire to understand our role in the universe, our knowledge, the truth, discovery, society, building, learning, teaching, all of that is here. Yeah, so we looked at the preparation, transformation, taking a look inside, and then we start looking outside. Where can we get the kindling for the fire of our evolution? That's what's in the void. And that moves us right into the lower part of the triangle, the lower part of the tree, the beginnings of the manifesting triangles. And so, where do we move to? We move directly to the Ace of Wands. To the Four of Cups. So, we look around, and what do we want to do? We want to experience our joy. Where are you? Where are you, Four of Cups? We want to experience our joy. We want to experience the pleasure of being with a group, because those things that we're looking to learn, to do, part of that is interacting with other people. Whether it's physical interaction or whether it could be through a book. Yeah, that is a kind of interaction as well, and we can take joy in those interactions. Emotional intuitiveness, affections realized here. That's where we begin in what? In Chesed. And so we move over from here to what? We move over to the Ace of Wands, right? We go from our joy to our initiative. We start moving forward. Now we use our brain. We use our brain, our active intellect, to do work in the world, to move into the world with our occupation, with the things we want to do. Activity of a mental nature, but also of an active nature. Here with the Aries of Aries, we move forward. And so what do we do? Right onto the floor. And so what do? We move from there into the heart of the matter to our Tiferet, which was the 9 of Wands. And here we get to what? We get to happiness, yeah, success, perhaps in entertainment, but success. Wise and profitable friendships, another way that we interact with people, wisely and for our profit and the profit of others. Illumination. Our intuition is reliable here. Yeah? And it's that mutual interaction of nurturing and receiving nurture. Farmer and soil, mother and child, friend and friend. Now we move into that in our heart. That is the core of how we move with our evolution. And so we move from there into spot number 7 in Netzach. And in Netzach we had the 8 of Swords, right? And so here we started to feel a little bit of limitation because we're starting to move into the physical realm. But positive thinking will help us to move through that, to face it. Yeah? And our recognition that what we might feel as limitations are actually the boundaries within which our power can be coalesced and gathered together to use. And as we gather that force together, as we keep our attitudes positive and we face our adversity, the way that we surrender to any obstacles that we might face is here in the Page of Swords, right? Being our patience, our persistence, organizing what we have. Being ambitious for success, for growth, yes, but also being diplomatic, recognizing that we are formed by our traditions. Yeah, we've gone through some pruning, some sloughing off, but we are still formed by our traditions here. And that moves us into our ability to discover our progressiveness, to move forward, to explore our interests and our education, our new discoveries, following the latest science, learning new stuff, which is the eventual manifestation here, right? Here in Sagittarius, where we learn new hobbies, we go out and explore and we learn. We don't spread ourselves too thin, but we can take action steps. If you want to, make a list of all the things you wanted to do and haven't done, the things you've wanted to learn, you've wanted to experience and have not done so, and then pick 3. And as those 3 don't make us spread out too thin, go do those. Because we've made space. We started making space in Kether, right? Because we've had that itch. And this is the expression of that itch. This is the manifestation of that itch. And that's how we're going to live more intentional lives in this coming week, by feeding the fires of our evolution. And I think I just came up with the title for this video, Feeding the Fires of Our Evolution. Does that make sense to you? What do you think? Yeah, I think this is this spread is a powerful spread, but this week's spread was particularly intense and asked of us a lot of our focus and our openness to receiving information, both through words and energetically and intuitively. Do you agree? If you agree, let me know in the comments below. If you disagree, let me know in the comments below. I'd really love to hear from you. And remember, in just a moment, there's going to be a short video that tells you the names of the decks and the names of the creators. If you want to get those decks, there will also be links in the description box below. Go look at the decks and purchase one or all of them. They're all available. They're wonderful decks. I highly recommend them. If you want a reading from me, my email address is below. Shoot me an email to thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com. We'll get you a reading. Oh, also, what? Hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done so already. On part 1 and part 2, it will help the channel. It helps draw eyes to the channel. So please do that for the benefit of the community. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And hit the alarm bell so you get notifications of when I upload videos. I'm 3 a week. Part 1, part 2, and then one more. My Terre de Marseille or Terre de Marseille adjacent deck spread. That is going to be coming up later, probably a day after this one is uploaded. So if you want to see when that is up, hit the alarm bell. And there we are. Here we have it. Friends, what do you think? let me know. I would really love to hear from you. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.